Welcome to the Beau Show from our nation's capital, and your home for faith, family, and freedom. And those three things all matter to actor Mark Wahlberg. He values those three things to the extent that he is making some changes in his life to amplify faith, family, and freedom. At this point, Wahlberg has been a successful actor, producer, businessman, and philanthropist, so he doesn't need to prove himself. But more importantly, he doesn't need to rub elbows with the Hollywood elite. He told The Talk this past week that among his reasons for moving from California to Nevada was to give his kids a better life. Take a listen.
Well, that is the biggest challenge right there, Cheryl. As you know, every free moment that I have, I'm at home. I moved to Nevada where after this gubernatorial election, hopefully go to legislation and get a bill passed so we can get tax credits for the state, build a state-of-the-art studio here, and make this Hollywood 2.0. I want to be able to work from home. I moved to California many years ago to pursue acting, and I've only made a couple of movies in the entire time that I was there. So to be able to give my kids a better life and follow and pursue their dreams, whether it be my daughter as an equestrian, my son as a basketball player, my youngest son as a golfer, this made a lot more sense for us to go and hopefully build a studio as well as a shoe factory and a factory for municipal. So we came here to, just kind of give ourselves a new look, a fresh start for the kids. And there's lots of opportunity here. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about the future.
He talks about how every free moment he has, he's at home, saying he wants to work from home. Wahlberg has a wife, Rhea Durham, and children Grace, Brendan, Michael, and Ella. He decided to make this move for a number of reasons, but he wanted to give a fresh start to his kids, who want to pursue passions, such as his daughter's equestrian pursuits. One son is a basketball player, and his youngest son has an interest in golf. He also hopes to build state-of-the-art studios in Nevada as a Hollywood 2.0, much the way that many studios transferred to Georgia for their favorable tax incentives. He also wants to build a shoe factory and a factory for Municipal, the sport utility gear company that he founded. He also talks about being an example. Take a listen to this.
Gosh, with my kids now, I work so hard to give my kids all the things that we didn't have, but the most important thing is love, being an example. My mom was the true definition of hard work, what her and my dad did just to provide for us 9 kids. She was truly an inspiration, and she touched everybody that she met. So being able to show her off to the world when we did even Wahlburgers was such a great thing for her because she worked so hard, and to give her the recognition that she deserved. She touched so many people.
Wahlberg said back in 2016 that a lot of Hollywood is living in a bubble, pretty out of touch with the common person, the everyday guy out there just providing for their family. So this first tenet, family, seems to be reason number one that Wahlberg wanted to make this move. Family shouldn't be a political idea, and no political party should corner the market on it. After all, family is a building block of American society and culture. But lately, the Democratic Party started taking an anti-family stance with its relentless attack on the nuclear family unit, especially with its attachment to the BLM movement, and using government agencies to go after parents at school board meetings who are concerned about Marxist-style education and critical race theory. But let's examine Wahlberg's comment that Hollywood lives in an out-of-touch bubble. Even liberal activist and singer Katy Perry has commented on the Hollywood bubble. Take a listen to her speaking to Chelsea Handler.
And I was just telling you, I'm living in Kentucky, and I have for almost a month now, and that's quite a amazing experience because it reminds you that Hollywood is not America. And you need to remember that because I think you can understand people better.
Yeah, right. It's nice to get outside of what you know to be normal and your reality.
Yeah, I mean, they're living in a bubble of sorts. We're living in a bubble. Our bubbles are completely opposite, but it's interesting.
But you've been in different bubbles because you grew up in a bubble. You grew up super religious.
Yes.
And that's one bubble. Then you came into this industry. That's another bubble, right?
Yes.
There are
it's an
bubbles.
anthropology study of humans.
Yeah, I bet.
Sapiens 3.
So talk to me about motherhood.
Motherhood. Best decision I ever made in my entire life. But a lot of BS just falls away. Stuff that you thought was important really was never important. And you just don't, you don't have time for any sort of energetic drama that's not important in your family. And, your family really starts to become first.
So even Katy Perry, a liberal activist who was raised very Christian, recognizes that Hollywood lives in a bubble and that having a family has reprioritized her life, so she's moved to Kentucky. You may remember that I recently provided some analysis of Billy Eichner's newest gay Hollywood rom-com, Bros, which has been a box office flop. He was upset about this, so he took to Twitter to write a tirade against Americans whom he considers to be backwards or bigoted who didn't go see his movie. What he and many Hollywood elites don't understand is that the vast majority of Americans that live outside of New York and Los Angeles are traditional and family-oriented. Nothing about that is bigoted, it's just a different value system. But Hollywood propped up Bros with $22 million, so when it flops, they only have themselves to blame for trying to force people to go see a film that they don't want to go see. When Hollywood types only insulate themselves in their own progressive echo chamber, they can't see how everyone else lives. This is what Wahlberg means when he says that they can't relate to the everyman. Because inflation does not affect Hollywood millionaires like it does middle-class families in Kansas or Ohio or South Carolina. The reason why networks like Hallmark have been successful is because they have showcased more traditional plots and values, even if sometimes those are saccharine. Look at Tim Allen's Last Man Standing, that was going to be canceled but returned after popular demand. It was about a very traditional plot. Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck also has a similar appeal. Top Gun Maverick was a film that was highly anticipated, but when they tried to tinker with some of the film's original patriotism to appease Chinese regulators, fans balked, so the producers had to change it. And fortunately for them, it delivered and delighted fans. A vast majority of Hollywood leans left and hosts major Democratic fundraisers. Harvey Weinstein was one of the biggest and held many a fundraiser in his home for Obama, Hillary, and Biden. But I'm in the film industry and used to live in LA, and I recall that there was this underground group of conservatives that had to meet secretly so that they wouldn't be outed, given the fact that it might get you kicked off your set. When I shot a film in Kentucky in 2016, I was delighted to find out that some of the top brass on the film were free thinkers. And similarly, in another film that I shot there, crew members came up to me when I arrived and said, "Hey, do you like Making America Great Again?" And at first I was mortified because I thought, my God, they have found out that I've performed for Trump and they're about to get me kicked off this set. But to my surprise, they quietly looked around and whispered to me, "So do we." You can imagine my surprise. That's two films where some cast and crew were more conservatively minded, but couldn't really speak up and openly about it. We know that actors like Clint Eastwood and Jon Voight have been outspoken in their conservative beliefs, but they can pretty much withstand the blowback because they are that far advanced in their age and their careers. Hollywood should be a place that celebrates families, because let's be honest, millions of them go to movie theaters. They owe a lot to the American family. But they have mocked the American family by trying to push certain progressive agendas, and it backfires. At the most basic level, though, producers want to make money. They just don't really listen to what people want. Now, in the case of movies like Shooter, that Mark Wahlberg starred in, it had a great plot. Mark tends to take on roles that are fairly heroic or redemptive in nature, so he gets to be the good guy. He probably does projects that he'd be comfortable with his kids watching. He's thinking about his kids. But many producers don't think that way. When I recently watched My Son Hunter, the film Robert Davi directed about Hunter Biden, I kind of expected to see some satire and some cheap shots against the Bidens. And there were a few here and there. But he titled the film that way because it's about a family and about a father-son relationship between Joe and Hunter. Corrupt as they may be, the film shows Hunter's very real-world drug and sex addiction that perhaps stemmed from a rough childhood after losing his mom and sister. And Hunter very well could be indicted for some of his business illegalities, which would be a major stain on the Biden family and dynasty. Blood is thicker than water, as they say, and families try to protect their own. Now let's look at the second tenet that Wahlberg holds dear, and a reason for his move: faith. After releasing his first Christian film, Father Stew, on Netflix, he told E! News, "Nobody's beyond redemption." He added that if God knows your heart and you want to do good, He will help you. He'll give you those things, but He's going to give you all those things when you're ready for them. That's the same thing with my wife, with my children, with all the things that I've ever wanted. He didn't give them to me until I was ready for them, unquote. Wahlberg has said that he doesn't force his religious beliefs on his children, but in May, he publicly congratulated his son Michael for his Catholic confirmation. He congratulated all of the young people out there who were confirmed in taking their relationship with the Lord into their adulthood and said, quote, "What a commitment you guys have made," unquote. It's refreshing to see an actor like him publicly acknowledge his own faith and his son's.